That's the
There you go. You're going to have to assume that this meeting is being recorded. There we go. Great, Nina. Excellent. Okay. So one of the things that what we're gonna do is start by mixing, and this is particularly good for people working in oil. Those of you working in acrylic, you'll need to mix and then mix again because your paint is gonna dry. Sorry, but that's the breaks of the acrylic oil of acrylic painting. So we're gonna start by mixing a patch of light skin and a patch of shadow skin color. Then I'm gonna have Joe start applying that paint for the first time. And Nina, you and I are going to do a glaze and then apply upper layers. Okay.
Okay.
So if you can kind of hold tight with this, but just practice with the mixing, because of course that's really the hardest part, right? That's the hardest. So I like to say, as I think I said last week, that all skin colors kind of start from the same base. And also, every artist, of course, has their own color mix that they like to work with, right? These are the colors that I have found work best for me. This is a light skinned woman, but the base that we're going to mix here, which is kind of an orangish base, pinkish base, is something that's used in all skin tones, whether they're dark or light. So that's why it's important to practice it. So we're gonna start. You guys ready? Can you all see what this says? This is cad red, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, white, and burnt umber and burnt sienna.
All right.
So you're gonna start by taking red with your palette knife. Hold on, I have a lot of red on my palette. I'd like to take some off. You want to be careful not to use, well, I don't know, it seems to go one way or the other. And some yellow ochre. And you're going to mix a base. And you want to try and make your base kind of balanced, a sort of peachy color. I don't really know if this is right yet, but if I see too much red in it, I'm definitely going to want to get a little bit more yellow. If it's too much yellow, I'm going to want to get a little bit more red. I won't really know if it's correct until I add a little bit of white to it. I still feel like I could use a little bit more. So we're going to start with that peachy base. So notice I have my two colors up at the top here, and then I've just pulled a little bit down here and a little bit down here. So as I need to add more, I haven't lost my little pile of color, right? My pile of color is kind of at the top here. And then once I get to here, I'm going to take some of this down, and I'm going to mix a little bit of white with it to see how it tones. Try to decide if I like it. It feels a little bit on the orangey side. Maybe I need a touch more red in there. But you see, I'm trying to mix a base that's kind of like the light color here. I might need to add more white ultimately. Definitely I need more base. So I want to have a lot of base color that I can pull from. Now, of course, it's a little different if you're doing acrylic painting. You can't let your base sit there too long. It'll dry. I obviously also put way too much red in this next batch of base. Also, notice it's really hard to get the kind of same level. I think that's pretty good. It's really easy to like lose your original, and it's not a half and half thing. It really isn't. So you're going to have to fiddle around with getting the right color. If it's too red, you put more yellow in it. If it's too yellow, you put more red in it. And you usually only know that once you've kind of mixed a batch and then added some white to it. So the first thing you're going to do is that. Create yourself some skin color. So Nina, I'd like to see you do that even though you've done it before. I'd like to see you try and do that. And if you want to sort of create lighter batches, you can kind of see how I'm kind of I'm creating like a little color swatch testing factory happening down here. Let's see a little bit of this new mix in. Yellow might be sometimes you don't really know till you add it into the, I like this one. I think this one has a little bit more red in it, and I think I like it better than this one. I think this looks a little bit too orange to me. So your first job.
Hi guys.
Hi, Sandra. So your first job is to mix, and I'll take a picture of this so you can see this up front. Skin color, a base, which we're going to use to make shadow, and we're also going to use to make a light skin color. But the first thing I want to see is you kind of testing, mixing from these two colors, cadmium red and yellow ochre, your skin color, and then pulling in a little bit of white. And notice how I've organized my palette, right? All the colors are at the top. Oops, this is looking a little blurry. And I know you're looking at this. Probably better that we look at this. Oops. So Nina, one of the things that you can do, as you can see, you lost your shape, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that you could do is mix some light skin color and try to regain it by adding it back in on the sides.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So if you want to, you can go ahead and try that. The first layer might not look great because it's got dark blue underneath, but if we keep layering, you'll be able to eventually regain that lightness. So that's your job. And for this task, I would not use a brush that's like bigger than this. So if I show you the regular brush that I use, right? Like this is kind of more of a regular size brush that I use for most things. See how teeny that is? We're going to be using a teeny flat. This is a flat because it's got a flat top. And then we're going to use a little teeny, even teenier, pointy one to do some kind of detail work.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just hard getting the same color again.
You won't get the same color again.
Okay.
You just got to do your best. You'll never get the same color again. But she's not all one color. Right? Yeah. But, you know, I don't get the same color every time, but I mix something that I end up mixing things I'm happy with.
Okay.
You can spread a little bit of the color other places, but you won't get exactly the same color, but you want to get as close as you can. You'll get, as you get better at mixing, you'll be able to do that. That's why we're doing this. All we're doing is mixing. It's really about mixing. If you can't mix, ultimately, you'll be stopped in your painting progress because all colors do not come out of the tube. You just don't have the colors. You need to learn how to mix, particularly shadow colors.
And you don't want the same color everywhere, then it looks flat.
Exactly. So you're not stressed about trying to create exactly the same, but you're stressed about creating something that looks skin tony. To me, this one looks more skin tony for a pale person than this one. This one seems a little bit too orange to me. So I added a little bit more red in this mix and then I put white in it. And see, so I got a different color. So when you've done that, send me pictures.
Okay.
And Nina, if you want to, when you've done it, send me pictures and then you can just get started trying to reshape your figure with that small brush.
Okay. Diane, I really liked your picture yesterday. Are you painting it?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I liked the image you sent yesterday with your, I guess it's your
Sunny,
dog?
with new
Sunny?
sun, with
Yeah,
Sunny.
my new dog. No, I'm not painting it. I asked, it was the first selfie we took. Maybe I'll paint it later. Now I'm painting the first picture I took of her. Unfortunately, one of her ears are cut off, but that's all right.
I love that picture. I agree, Nina. It was so cute.
Yeah.
I might try to paint that later.
Well, you should. One of my colleagues has adopted a foster cat whose ear has also been kind of cut at the top as well.
Ugh,
They don't know how. Yeah.
makes me so mad. Doesn't it make you mad?
It's really sad. Yeah. So at least the cat now has a good home, and
Oh, yeah.
but still.
But this dog only has cat ears in the picture because I cut it off.
Right.
Oh,
She,
okay. Okay.
she
Not beyond
cropped
the
it
ears.
wrong.
And I already told Sandra, but you know, in Sweden, we have a name for every day. And my dog was born on the Sandra day.
Your-
Nice. That's sweet.
Your dog was born on a what day?
On Sandra day.
On
Sandra.
Sandra
Sandra.
Day.
Yeah, Sandra.
Oh, you mean the day that Sandra made your?
No, the day my dog Sunny was born, according to the Swedish almanac, that's the day of Sandra.
Oh, Sandra, the god is a goddess or something.
No, you celebrate every day. Every day has a name day in Sweden, and you
it.
celebrate that name. So,
How
you know,
sweet.
yeah.
Is
Hey.
that connected to the church, Diana, or is
No,
that just
not at all.
yeah,
You know, Sweden is the most non-religious country in the world.
One of the happiest countries too, isn't it?
Huh? Yeah, well, one of the happiest, yeah. Hey, little one, stop it. Stop it.
Bitey, bitey, bitey. All right. So when you're done, and take your time, send me pictures of your skin mixes. I'd like to see them.
I can't believe I don't have a skinny brush like that.
The teeny one or the big one?
Yeah,
The bigger one?
I've got a bunch of, I don't know if these are oil brushes or,
Kind of yellowy, Nina. I would add a little bit more red and more white, but not too much. Not a lot of red, just a touch more red. In my mind, this looks a little yellowy and a little bit more white because there's a kind of pinkish tone in here that you don't want to lose. It's easy to let that yellow kind of dominate. Don't worry, this is exactly, if you see, my first attempt was a little too yellowy too. Can you see the difference between this one and this one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's red. Red and more white is the difference.
Okay.
Are these your birds, Leah?
No, they are not. I don't know who's, probably Joe's. So same general region. Because Joe's out on the back porch.
Your back porch? No,
Not
his
mine,
back
his.
porch.
Yeah, but we're both in Portland. He's not
Right.
far from me.
I'm gonna put the dog on timeout.
Okay. But dogs going into timeout. Somebody's in timeout. That's really funny. I have to say, I'm really loving the pacing that's happening in this class. I feel like we can really get into stuff kind of deeply, partly because the class is longer, right? It's 3 hours instead of 2. And yeah, just partly because we're not in any rush to like, you can work on your own stuff, but I feel like, I just like it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as rushed. I mean, not that I'm
Yeah.
doing what you're doing,
Right.
but
Yeah. We're not right, but you're still listening. Right. And
Yes.
it's like, I
the other
know,
one
I
does
really-
feel a bit rushed.
yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours is a little rushed, but I just think I couldn't get anybody to commit to
Yeah,
more.
because poor India and because it gets late.
Yeah, it's late. And I just think after a work day, it's harder. You
Hmm.
know, it's like, it's just harder to get 3 hours in. Sunday is a perfect 3 hour day, right? even Saturday, I think people are like wanting to get up and around and do things. So I'm like, um, even Saturday, I'm like, is not really the appropriate. But Sunday is it's the slow paint day.
I just power washed my little wall, so I'm completely drenched and exhausted. But I'm so happy I had the energy to do this.
Sandra, it's just all the news is so dang good.
I mean, a few months ago, I didn't even have the strength to go into my garden or anything like that.
It's good.
So it's amazing.
It really is. You don't realize how much you would appreciate your strength, your natural strength.
Yeah, you don't
so
think
you
of it.
lose
There's so much you take for granted, you know.
So many things. I think in physicality particularly, right? Like so what we learn, and maybe as we get older, you just have a little bit less. So you have to be a little bit more careful of it, regardless of whether you get sick or not. But when you get sick, of course, you've really got to marshal everything you have.
Oh.
Sam's like, would not recommend this to anybody.
No.
Would not recommend this to anyone at all. What do you think, Nina?
Oh, okay. So I'm using the colors I have. So I'm mixing primary red with cad yellow medium and white.
So what do you think?
It's less yellow than the first one I sent you. It just needs a little bit more white and maybe a tad of red.
Yes, exactly. Keep going. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep going. You're on the way. Yes. So I was just wondering, I'm now sort of checking, like, I want you to feel empowered to like kind of keep going, right? Like to keep going. But yes, you're exactly right. A touch more red and a little bit more white. To get that kind of peachy color. We're going to do one more light-skinned person, and then we'll probably go to a dark-skinned person. So we can practice the different, how to take this base.
And Asians too.
Yeah.
Presumably there's not much difference with Asians.
Well, more yellow. I mean, Italians too have a little bit more yellow in their skin tone. Welsh people have more pink, like, red. I mean, it's funny. It's just these little adjustments here or there.
And red Indians must be more red.
Indians touch more, but like not as much as you think. It's funny. Our ideas about things, right? Like it's little adjustments.
Yes, it's probably because when I look at Asian people, it's imperceptible, really.
What I like is I like the idea that everything comes from this base, because this base feels like red clay to me. In a weird way, it kind of appeals to my sense. I'm not a religious person, but the creation story of Adam and Eve, you can see Adam and Eve being made of things that start with this color. Right? Like and everything, not just Adam and Eve, like all the rocks, all the trees, everything kind of being made from this red clay. And that's what I love about this color. To me, it feels like a fundamental color. Also, burnt sienna has a little bit of that for me, and burnt umber will also have a little bit of that feeling of the base of the color of everything. The base color of everything. So I really love this because I'm like, okay, now how do I mix this base to mix for a darker skin? How do I mix this base for a lighter skin, right? You can see God like making, if you believe, I'm not believing in it. I'm not saying I'm believing in it, but I'm saying you can see God like creating.
But you could imagine it, yes.
Them of red clay, right? This is that base that we're talking about. It's wonderful. Yes, that's the romantic in me. Kind of sees that. That's how I see color in a romantic way. I feel like the romance for me in color is what is underneath everything. What's underneath all of us? What is the color that supports every color on top? It's not white, I'll tell you that. speaking of, I'm gonna go check on my little charge. Be right back.
So Sandra, wasn't it today you were going out with friends?
I know, because today's Father's Day. So it's next week.
Oh,
I decided to skip Father Days because most of the people who help me, there are some fathers. So, and not only that, even if it's women, you know, they have husbands and kids, and some of them. So,
yeah.
And just as well, because in fact, well, I'm doing this power washing, but
also going out on Father's Day is like crazy.
yeah, but also, yeah, they said, you know, although the radiation has stopped, they said the next week is going to be the worst in terms of side effects. You know, you get more tired because it was at its peak when they stopped. So, you know, it still continues. So it's probably just as well that I spend a quiet weekend. I mean, although I spent yesterday sorting out all the stuff that was in my my woodshed that has just been cleared. I'm very happy about that. And today I just power washed this wall. So it's nice I'm being able to do like
nice to be back, eh?
Small and big project. Yeah, that's amazing. So tomorrow I'm going to ask the handyman, he's coming back tomorrow, to take out the garden furniture.
Yay.
Because I think those beasts are gone, those cicadas.
Yay.
I don't hear them anymore. So I'm very lucky. I thought they were going to stay another 2 weeks. So at least you can be out without it raining cicadas. And it's always unpleasant. I just don't like big bugs.
Good.
What are those moths that happen in Eastern Oregon? Have you ever seen that?
No. And do they come only at night or in the daytime as well?
Every 7 years, there's this huge, I think it's at night, because I was in this one town, can't remember what town it was, and you can't even walk. They're dying, and they're just.
When you say moths, they're night butterflies, you mean?
Right, and they're like, yes, they're
like
huge.
this. Ah, no, that would freak me out. Because this is what I don't like about cicadas. You know, they're very kind, but they're big.
Yeah. And you
and
can't
they
walk
fly
without
very
stepping
clumsily.
I think that's looking better, Nina. You could probably even do a little touch more red, don't you think?
Okay.
Don't you think? I mean, I don't know.
I didn't know there were other places like that.
Okay.
Joe,
it probably does. Yeah.
Okay. When you look at it, just look at it and see. Hey, Joe, what about you?
I've got a color pretty well mixed here. I'll send it over.
All right.
I just got my coffee made, so now I'm set.
Right on. I'm with
the
you.
most important bit.
The bit of the day. I met a friend for coffee this morning, so I'm a little bit over coffeeed. I'm like, but we did a second, and I was like, why?
It's better than when you're under coffee.
Oh, good. Okay. Right. I'm grumpy when I'm under coffee, aren't I? That's awesome. Totally true. Oh my God. I feel like you guys could probably chart my, like if I was still having a period, you could probably chart my menstrual cycle. All the time you see me like, are you feeling a little bit down? Which I don't have anymore, so you can't chart it, but I can't blame that for anything, that any change in mood.
Water.
I was just saying to Sandra how this is, I like Sunday art. It's a bit more like slow paint. It's like slow paint day where we can take our time. Hi, Andy. Good for you. We're just at the very basic beginnings of mixing. So whether you are at the stage that you're at or whether you're at the stage that Joe is at the very beginning, we are mixing a base light. right? Yeah, so you need to mix a base light, and then you're gonna mix a base dark, which I'll show you, but this is just the base light. So it's just red, yellow ochre, and then some white. Adjusting it until you get either red or yellow until you get something that reads like a light skin color. And then once you do that, you're gonna do a dark as well. So we still have to keep mixing that, right? We still have to keep mixing wherever you are in this process. We need to be mixing a light before we do anything else. We need to mix a light and a dark base that we use to start working in more details.
And if I recall, with the dark base, we were adding a little ultramarine blue to that.
Yeah.
mix.
Do you want me to show you guys that right now? I can do that really quick.
Oh, no, I was just trying to recall. So when I get the paints out, I just know.
Yep, absolutely. Cadmium red, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, and white. And then I've got a little burnt sienna on the side here.
And I'm sorry for being late. If would it help if I sent what I did last week so you could see where I was last at as well?
I mean, I know where you're last at. You can do that, do it. But you and Nina are at the same place. So, and Joe is one step behind. So as soon as everybody gets their paints mixed, then I'm going to demonstrate for Joe what to do, and then I'll show you guys what to do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the idea. So Nina's doing a little bit of correcting she lost a little bit of her drawing by getting too much paint, like kind of cutting in here. So she's mixing color and then bringing that back. So yeah, send it over, Andy. I mean, do you feel like there's any changes you need to make? Did you lose any of the drawing and the painting?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you did either. So I would say send it over, but what I would say is you and Nina and I are gonna start with a glaze. And Joe is gonna start with his brushing light into dark. But after the glaze, you're still gonna need your light and your dark mixed. So we might as well all mix our light and darks. Let me demo this since we're there. Once you get your base kind of mixed appropriately, you're gonna pull a little bit aside here. And you're going to take a touch of ultramarine blue and mix it in to create shadow. Oh, that's pretty dark shadow. Right? So I'm pulling. I've got shadow color. It's pretty dark. Might need to, maybe too much blue. Let me check it out. And then just like my light skin color, I'm going to mix a little bit of white in to create a lighter and darker shadow. Well, that's kind of nice, actually. I might want a little bit more skin color in there. There we go. So that I've got like a shadow color that gets sort of gradually lighter as well. Because as we all know, right, there's probably 5 values in here. Bring a little bit of this in, bring more light, creating a lighter version. Your shadow should have a kind of skinny, like a sort of ruddy gray color, a sort of ruddy gray color. You want it to look like skin, but a little bit grayer.
And you've just added ultramarine blue to that orange mix?
And then,
Okay.
yeah, so that's over here. And then I add white to it and adjust it just like I did here.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you want is like kind of, it's what everybody wants before we get started painting is, and whatever stage you're at, whether you're layering on the second time or the third time, like the first time for Joe, the second time for Nina and Andy, you're both like layering in. And Andy, don't ever apologize for being late, because you know what? This is slow paint time. We're gonna go really slow.
Well, if anyone is slow, it's me.
Oh, Joe, that's looking pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little, I'm gonna add a little more yellow.
Yeah, and you can do that as you put it on the figure and adjust, right? So as you adjust. So now take a bit, you can add a little bit more yellow, and then to that base, without the white, add in a little bit, take a little bit over here and add a touch of blue in. So you've got shadow. So you see how this is working, you guys? we've got like red and yellow as the base. And then what we mix a big pile of that so that we can take little bits of the base here, little bits of the base here, right down here. We mixed a little bit of white. Over here, we mixed a little bit of blue. So we have this kind of, pile that we're working with. Once again, for Nina, it's a little bit more challenging because you're working with acrylic. This is one of the wonderful things about working with oil. This can sit here for days. Well, maybe 2 days, 3 days. And I can keep adjusting the mix, right? With acrylic, so your challenge with acrylic is just that. Yeah, no, I think you're in pretty good shape, Andy. So I would say just start mixing, and then we're gonna do some details with the hair. We're going to, and the 2 brushes we'll use today. See how teeny these are? There's a little tiny detail brush, as small as you can get. And then this is a little teeny flat. And just to show you, compared to the type of brush I usually like to use, right? Look at the difference. So this is the brush I usually like to use. We're not using this, nothing this big. This is a teeny brush, partly because this is a teeny figure. And
I got some brushes.
What?
I got some brushes. I don't know if they're oil brushes or watercolor or what.
You can make it an oil brush.
Okay.
If you
We'll
haven't used them for anything, yeah, just make sure you keep them in the, after that, you don't use it for water.
Okay. Did everybody do a background wash first or anything?
You haven't done any of that? Haven't
No.
you done your first layers? You haven't done your base?
I just have the drawing. Yeah, I didn't do.
No, yeah, we're gonna have to do a background wash, but we're gonna get there. You need to get your mixes in.
Okay.
To keep in touch with, to keep up with everybody else and not like, yeah. You're
Okay.
gonna need to, yeah. We did do a black background layered wash. I will find it. All right, let me see if I can find those pictures so you can see them, Joe. That's just one color. That's burnt sienna using a lot of Gamsol. So I will try and find the demos. I'm going to try and find the demos to show you. Hold on. Yeah, it's funny. I forget like how much we get done in one.
Yeah, I probably could have done that the last round.
I don't think we did it together. So I think that's why you didn't do it. I think you were just focusing on the drawing here. So yes, here it is. Okay. So once you get your drawing in place, can you see that like this is just burnt sienna with Gamsol?
Okay.
Can you see it?
Okay.
Right
When you're
there.
getting the,
And you're doing lights and darks.
Okay.
And I did a little wash of the background. So if you wanted to, you could sort of lightly wash the background and then go back in with darker colors for the dark
Okay.
areas, right?
all right.
All right. So you can go ahead and do that if you've mixed your colors.
Okay.
And if you have mixed your colors, once everybody else mixes their colors, I'll show you what we're going to do first with our painting before we do anything else. All right. Calm down now. No.
No.
And Joe, I know you have a tendency to use a lot of Gamsol, so lay it out, like go easy on the Gamsol.
Okay.
The good news is, right, so that you can get your darks dark enough. Like squeeze your brush out once you've dipped it in Gamsol before
Okay.
you put it in the paint for the darker parts. For the light, you can be very loose. There can be a lot of Gamsol on your brush, but if you want darker, you're going to want to dip your brush in Gamsol and then squeeze it out with the paper towel like this before you add any dark to it, more color to it. Send me pictures of your mixes here. Let me send you a picture of the dark mix so you can kind of get a sense of what that should look like. So Holly's finally leaving you, Andy. She's moving out.
Yeah, she's apartment hunting to move out, moving
That's
with
so
her boyfriend into wonderful Hoboken.
That's wonderful. Actually, I think
Yeah, we're very
Hoboken
excited
is
for her.
awesome.
So she's still looking, and hope she's looked at a bunch of apartments and gotten close at a couple. So we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
exciting. She wrote and asked if she could use me as a work reference, her employer reference.
Yes.
It's like that. So yes, of course you can.
How does that happen in a year that you go from like having me schlep around in painting to like
Her to get my first video editor. Oh my God, she's so great. She's such a great employee.
Well, she really likes doing it. She really likes working with you guys.
Yeah, I think she's a good fit for the team. That is absolutely true.
And what's great too is like, with Holly going to college, back to college in the fall, it sounds like working for you will not be an
No,
issue.
it will not be a problem because we have a lot of flexibility. And she seems to what's really perfect is I'm an early person, right? And all my classes are kind of early, but she's a late person. So she can get into it late and then
you guys probably overlap in the morning sometime.
Yeah, exactly. As she's getting, yeah, it's really awesome. I'm excited for her.
Yeah, and Hoboken is just this wonderful, charming, you know, city. So it's vibrant, exciting, you know, funky.
I'm excited for her. I would love to live in Hoboken if I was
How
young.
old
I
is
would
she?
if I was her.
She's 24.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, she's definitely, and she's looked at some great spots. And of course, one of the great things about Hoboken, for those not familiar with the New York area, it has like this subway-like train line that runs straight from Hoboken into New York City. So living in Hoboken is actually closer to Manhattan than most parts of Brooklyn.
Right.
Do you live in New
That's
York
true.
yourself?
So,
Do you live
Yes,
in New
that-
York?
pardon?
Do you live in New York?
We live right outside New York in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Ah, so that's also in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, we're also in
Hoboken-
New Jersey.
So
Yeah,
you'll be nearby.
yeah, we'll be nearby, but she'll also have like a really super
Very
easy
independent.
commute
Right.
into her into the college where she'll be working.
It's really exciting. Andy, are you going into the office at all? Or are you still like working from home?
I am remote until September.
Wow.
Then
Then it goes back.
and even then it's just part-time. We're
Oh,
hybrid.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think hybrid makes way more sense.
Yeah.
It makes way more, or remote if you can do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
think about how many hours you're getting back just in not.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
You know what I mean?
and there's Holly right now in case you have a question for her.
I'm good. Tell her I'll take a look. Hi, Holly. I'm going to take a look at your art gallery suggestion very soon.
Sounds good, Leah.
That's a bit. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Isn't it interesting how much you forget you're looking at a naked person? The longer you work on this, the more you're just like, I'm trying to get colors right. I'm trying to get shapes right. I'm trying to get this and that right.
Well, yeah. So you get us in that frame of mind where we're just looking at shapes and colors and not thinking about it, and then my children come along and they're traumatized. So
and they
yeah,
freak out. Yeah.
yeah.
You did explain to them how they got here, right? They do know that, don't they? Even more traumatizing.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that's, once your kids enter your teen years, it feels like everything you do as a parent is almost traumatizing.
Then again, they return the favor, don't they?
As they say in The Lion King, it's the circle of life.
The circle of traumatizing.
Traumatized the day I was born.
So at least you're used to it. All right, everybody. How's everybody doing? You think you've got a good shadow and a good light? And Nina, if you want to, you can go in and start trying to fix your drawing a little bit with, adding some more paint in the areas where you painted over.
Okay, that's what I've been doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to fix it. So she's got like a line and then a belly button and yeah.
Don't worry about getting into too much detail. Just get some skin color in here because what I'm going to show you and Andy is how to kind of get more finalized detail. And that can come after those layers. So don't worry if you lose any detail in here. We're going to go back in and find it.
Okay.
And we may spend the whole time working on this painting. I did have another lady for us. I thought this one would be kind of cute to try next. Yeah. So I thought we might try her and I sort of have her ready if we get there, but we may just spend the whole time painting and maybe start this next week. Are you guys happy with doing this? Is this what you want to do?
Yeah, for me, it's
Okay. I mean, I'm really enjoying it, but like, I know it's kind of slow because there's the whole drawing and then there's the painting and then there's the painting layers and all of that. But I'm finding this very enjoyable. So as long as you all, if you want, you're finding you're getting tired of it, I thought we would shift over to faces maybe in August or September.
Like these mixes are the best I've gotten so far in my career.
There you go, right? It helps to have practice.
Yeah.
And to try it again, right? And to remember all the things. I was thinking about how much we learn from making mistakes. And you know, when Pat's here, she's always like, I learned by making mistakes. I try it once and then I do it again. And you know,
Yeah.
like
I think the one thing is I keep having to add more and more. So now I actually have piles of paint. Normally I don't have enough paint on my palette. So
you want piles of paint, right?
Yeah.
Like when you get like things going.
so this will be
And
helpful.
like I said, that's the joy of, do you see why I think you would do so much better with oil, Joe? Because
Yeah.
you can take your time, you know, like
Yeah.
you can take your time and like get it right rather than have to keep remixing. I mean, either one is fine. It depends on how fast you are. It depends on how fast you want to work. But when you want to take it slow, oil is the slow paint.
I suppose I should have stopped and done the base layer so it can dry.
Yeah, those are looking great, Joe. I think your blue, you could use a touch more blue in your lighter mixes. They're looking a little brown.
Okay.
Maybe just a touch more, like in this one and in this
Okay.
here. And that one, and just a touch more, but not too much more.
Okay.
And then you can, and then what you're going to want to do is kind of try to recreate what I just sent you with burnt sienna and
Okay.
black and white. And then, so Andy and Nina, when you guys are ready, let me know, because we're going to start with a glaze. And yes, it's a purple glaze. So we may actually want to add one color to our palette, which is either quinacridone red or some kind of cool, sometimes some kind of cooler red, alizarin crimson, quinacridone, scarlet, something like that. Notice, by the way, that when I'm done with my palette knife, I'm wiping it off so I can use it again. And also so that the paint doesn't dry on it. Really important if you're doing work with acrylic, right? Because you don't want the acrylic to dry in layers. I have a very sort of skin colored paper towel right now.
Leah, can I ask a question about, you know, when you create an acrylic or a watercolor paint, do you ever do a fixative or a clear layer of gesso on top to protect it?
I use something called Gamvar, which is for oil and acrylic. Yeah, I almost always do.
Okay.
Here, let me show you what that looks like.
And you don't find it changes the colors?
I think she's gone to get it. That's a good question.
Does it
Do you
say?
use anything,
No,
Diana? Do you use anything then, or no?
I find it yellows over time.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
Maybe I have had a bad experience.
Yeah.
Leah? No, she's not back.
Okay, so can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the basic idea with a varnish, or with this last layer that you put on, a protective layer, it's called a varnish. So there are acrylic varnishes and there are oil varnishes, and then there's this amazing magical product that Gamblin makes called Gamvar. And Gamvar, so you'll notice the word VAR in it, like right in some way, Damar, varnish, it's a varnish. And the varnish both protects and sort of brings a little bit more vibrancy and color. So Gamvar can actually be used on either acrylic or oil paint. So I treat all my paintings, my acrylic and my oil paintings with Gamvar, using a thin layer. And you can see, like, here is a painting that does not have any varnish on it. It's an acrylic painting. And then here's a painting that does. Oh, let's see what I can like. Let me take this up for a second. So here we go. Can you see the difference? Even on the camera? This
It's
has
shiny.
a shinier. Yeah. It actually brings up the shine. I mean, this isn't a bad painting, but this like brings up the shine. It's got a little bit more gloss. It's got a little bit more of a finished look. Kind of pumps up the darks a little bit.
And you don't find it changes the colors over time?
I mean, not that I've seen, not that
No.
I've heard of. No, not really. Varnish in general or Gamvar?
Varnish in general?
I don't think so. I'm looking around and seeing, not in the, but you know, I mean, I haven't looked at a painting. I don't have any painting that's more than 10 years old here, so I can't see, I can't say beyond that. But I would say no. I mean, I think it generally like kind of ups the value. Let's see. I mean, we could maybe even apply a little bit here. You can see, since I don't really care about this painting. Can you shut the door? Thank you, Mother. Like if I put sticky. So let's say I dip my brush here in the varnish. Say I varnish half of this. See what it does?
No.
You're not seeing any?
Not yet.
It's pretty okay. So maybe it's a little too dark. I can see what it does. There you go. You can see, this is a little bit too, here, hold on. I'll take a picture of it, then you can see it better. So it, like this half of the cup is varnished and this half isn't. Yeah, you'll see it better when you see it here.
maybe I have to rethink the varnish. Huh?
I mean, just do your
You could
research.
do some tests.
Do your research.
Yeah.
I don't
Because
know why I don't know who told you it was a bad thing. It shouldn't, I mean, here, look at
we
that.
were always, when
Can
I
you
went
see
to
it now?
art school, it was always a no-no.
Interesting. Well, those are older materials,
Yes.
right? They have
probably.
newer materials
Yeah.
that are like really, yeah. And particularly, yeah, the solvents, the varnishes, the strips, right? So can you see it now? Now that you can see it a little bit here. It's lighter here.
Yeah, I can see where it is.
But you can see it
Yeah.
better. You can definitely
Yeah.
see it better. So
Yeah.
it does sort of add something.
What happens with the lighter colors, like the orange you have in the coffee mug, in the top of the coffee, if you want it? Will it dampen it?
You mean this part, the part that hasn't been varnished?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just show you. I mean, I think it makes it a little bit less dull. There we go.
This is very interesting to me.
Yeah. There you go. How's that? Now I'm going to take a picture so you can really see
Yeah.
it. So then you can compare it. I think it makes it a little brighter. Everything, it gets a little brighter. So there's a little bit of a white spot here because of my lights. Because I still haven't quite figured out my lighting. Let's try it again. So there's this reflective bit here that's not really actually what's happening. There we go. So I think it makes it a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say Gamvar, do you want me to send a picture of the jar so you can see it? I only recently in the last
the difference. I see the difference.
Yeah, I only recently, I love it. I mean, for finishing, but here's the problem with it. It then becomes like more difficult to photograph, right? So, because it's got a gloss on it, right? So it's got a glossy layer. So in certain lights, it'll be more difficult to photograph. If I'm trying to create a painting from prints, I take the painting to be photographed first before I varnish it. Because once you varnish it, you'll get these shiny spots, right? Like not as you try, because as light hits it, you'll get little shiny spots. So so if I'm trying to photograph it, I will get a picture of it unvarnished rather than varnished.
And there is no matte varnish. It's all
gloss.
gloss.
Oh, there's all matte. There is. This is called gloss. There's definitely a matte. And then there's something called a satin, which is, okay, that looks great, Andy. Beautiful skin color.
Satin I would go for, I think.
Yeah, there's some kind of mixed like satin. And like I said, recently I just found out, I assumed all Gamblin products were just for oil. And then, but if you read it on the back, it says, okay, it says, do not swallow or for vomiting. Gamvar gloss saturates colors in your painting. So it pushes the colors forward, right? Saturates them. It gives your work a unified and protective gloss surface. Gamvar gloss stays water clear and can easily be removed with Gamsol. Gamvar gloss is odorless and can be applied when the thickest areas of your painting are dry and firm to the touch. May be used on oil, alkyd, and acrylic paintings. Brush apply, don't spray. The other thing to think about is that you do not want to do what I did when I was showing you this. You don't want to apply the varnish when it's kind of sitting up, leaning up on a table. You want to apply it flat so there's no drips. And I use so many layers of Galkyd to create varnishes and layers that I have this very uneven tone in my paintings when I'm done. so what I like about the Gamvar varnish is that I go over the whole thing and it looks less like there's little spots that are shiny and little spots
Yeah.
that are not, and it kind of smooths out everything. Because I use so much medium in places to varnish, to like, you know, to glaze. So I have these sort of like little uneven patches of color until I put the
So
varnish
like
on.
regular medium that you dilute with, if you want to make the color a little glossier when you paint, can you use that as varnish as well?
What do you mean regular medium?
Medium that you have instead of water when you paint with acrylic, for instance?
There are acrylic mediums that, yes, you can use to glaze with rather than water. I don't know what they are because I don't really use them, but like Liquitex has a bunch. Yeah, you can totally do that. Yeah.
Because I use it sometimes when I want a little bit glossier paint. I use it instead of water when I paint.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can totally do that. That's how I use Galkit. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I use Galkit. Yeah, absolutely. But it does create an uneven tone, right? Because you're not necessarily using it everywhere. So you'll have these patches of like
I
color.
kind of like that.
Yeah, so if you like it, that's fine, but I don't like it. I think it looks like I often see that it seems like it doesn't, it looks uneven. So I glaze everything and then it seems a little bit more. There'll still be variation.
Yep.
But it's not so flat here and shiny here.
Okay.
It's more
No,
shiny.
I find
with a
this
little
very
variation.
interesting.
Diane, I'll take a picture of a current oil painting that I just finished to show you that doesn't have a varnish on it, to show you what I mean about this unevenness. Like, I'll do that. Is everybody ready to kind of, Joe, are you kind of working away on your base?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you check my dog for a second, please?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course. I'm sorry. Get caught up in all these questions. Okay. He's looking pretty good.
I'm not happy with the
Well, once again, his snout is still a little too long. Right, it's a little too far away, and so a little bit too far down.
But I can't
his snout
really
is still.
Change it.
Well, I think
No.
Can't you put a light blue, white, kind of up on the top
above
of the nose?
above the nose, you mean?
To extend it, yeah, to extend it up a little bit. I think
Yes, I
that
can.
will probably do that. Try that. Mix a little bit of white and a little bit of blue. And
Yeah, and also under the nose, it needs to be darker, so the nose.
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
haven't really
Absolutely.
finished that area.
Yeah. So what you're really trying to do is create that square, Sandra, in the front. Like this
I
part
don't think it's too long once you do that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I still think she needs a little bit of that blue, putting that. So if you put a little blue, so you're just creating a little box here of everything that's in the front.
Okay.
I agree with Diana. So
Yeah, I have trouble
down.
doing the.
I know you don't conceptualize it yet. You
I have
still don't
trouble
think.
doing that when I see it on other people. I think, oh, they do that much better, and I don't know why I can't do the nose properly.
Because you are not thinking about how to you're still practicing how to translate 3 dimensions to 2. You're still just not thinking about it. What you need to do is think. This is here, I'm going to show you. Really. Oh, you know what? I might be able to show you. Let me see if I can save this and draw on I'm going to see if I can save it and draw on the thing. Wish I could edit in WhatsApp. I can't really seem to. Let's see. I can share this. Hang on. You have something to work on, Sandra, but I'm gonna like show you what I mean by this thing. Okay, now I can edit it. All right, let me see. That's terrible. I'll make this thinner. Just wanna lightly. No. It's so annoying. Give me a second. I'm actually going to print this out because I can't figure out how to do it electronically. Sorry.
Thank you.
It's a way of thinking, Sandra, that you're still not quite adjusted to. You're still thinking more flat. And what you need to learn is what you're learning is how to translate 3 dimensions to 2. So you're learning how you need to think about various parts of the dog. You still think of the dog as one continuum, but really, this dog, I'll show you. Dang it, no. Okay, come here, you. Okay, here we go. Okay, I think this is going to make a lot of sense to you. I hope. I'm going to show it to everybody before I take a picture. Here, hold on. This for a second. In, because this is good for everybody to see. So, Sandra, do you see how I've created a little kind of rectangular cube? Right? Can you see that? Oh, can you not hear me?
Hold on, let me put you on, yeah, speaker view.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So this, and I'll just draw it even more strongly with the different colors so you can see it. Right? So this is the front of the dog's nose. It's a box like that. And then the side of the dog's nose is here. I kind of obscured it because the blue part is kind of up in here. So this is the front of the dog's nose. Look at the difference between what you've done and what's happening here. Right? This is a shape that you almost need to deal with separately than this part of the nose and this part of the nose.
So I've extended the black underneath, which
Are you understanding my point though? Does this make sense to you? If this is not,
yes,
you have to understand, this is bigger because it's the part of the nose that is the closest to you. So it's bigger than the back of the nose. You're just thinking about dog, you know, nose, this whole thing. But the nose is pieces, right? It's pieces of shapes that need different things. And right now, you're in a perfect position to fix it because everything really in here is dark and bigger.
there's
Got
a
it?
bit on the left of it that is white, but yes.
Yeah. So you can see the difference, right? Tiny bit on the left, that's white, but like, can you see the difference between how you filled the box?
Well, I haven't done the
And
bottom.
now.
I can see
Right.
that.
So my point is, but it's not just that. It's understanding that this part of the nose is wider than you think it should be because it's coming towards you, and that there's this truncated top bit here, and that it needs to fit underneath this triangle shape. So that's what you don't get. I think that's what you're still learning, is how that is, once you really understand that, it's going to be easier for you. But the problem is you got to translate. Here, I'm going to take a picture of this. So you can see it easier. You've got to be able to translate how 3 dimensions looks on a 2-dimensional surface. And until you can really do that, you're going to struggle with this. That's going to be the struggle. So it's almost like I'm breaking apart the nose into shapes. Whoops, here, hold on. I'm breaking apart the nose into shapes. So what's that? Go. And I'm dealing with this part differently than how I'm dealing with this and this part. And for that matter, this part. These all have to be proportionally correct. They have to be, this is much lighter. So that's the issue. It's thinking about the nose in pieces rather
Okay.
than as a whole. So that's the problem you're having. That's all. I mean, you'll get it when you get it. It's connected to the perspective lessons that we've been learning. It's connected to the figure drawing that we're doing. It's connected to every single other lesson I'm teaching until you really get, oh, this person on a flat surface means that things that are closer to me are bigger and things that are farther than me on this person are smaller.
Well,
Same
the
with
thing
this
is,
vase. Same with this vase. Same
you know,
with this.
I actually printed the dog on a transparent film, and when I overimpose it, the problem is the width is right. The problem is the back of the nose and the bottom, which was not dark enough.
Yeah.
But I can tell the size. Do you see my film?
Let's see. Oh,
The
yeah,
transparent film.
yeah.
So what I
that's
do is I
great.
overimpose it to see
What a great
whether
idea.
I'm off.
What a great, can you take a picture of it with the film on top, just so that we can all
Yes.
see it? Yeah, so that's the way to do it. But also there's an intellectual understanding you need to have, which until you get it, makes it hard to figure out what's going on, right? This is just,
That helps.
you're
That
at
drawing
it,
that you did.
you're at it, you know, this is where you kind of push up from, one pushes up from intermediate to more advanced. This is the understanding. So the more you get into it, the more you understand that perspective, that showing everything has perspective. There are parts of everything that are closer to us and parts that are farther away. And so there's got to be a kind of uniform understanding of what that is, what it looks like, and everything. And that's okay. It takes a while to get it. Great, Joe. That looks perfect.
It's very
Okay.
difficult to tell when they're overimposed.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not really, it's just the thinking. It's the understanding. So I think my drawing is probably going to help you more.
Yeah, it
but
is helping me.
ultimately, ultimately, you've got to be able to break this an individual subject up into component parts in a way that you're not used to as a left brain person, right? In a left brain way. There's a right brain way of breaking things down into pieces and dealing with them. That helps. And one of those things about the nose is that we always want to make it longer than it really is. We always want to pull it far down, when really what's happening is the nose isn't going down, it's coming at us.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
coming towards
doing a similar thing with this silly picture I'm doing. So I'll send you. I have a long nose that's shortened by perspective.
Right. Shortened by her, well said. All right. So, and while you're doing that, is anybody who has got, so Joe, let yours dry for a little bit.
Right.
Have a sip of beer.
It's kind of a nice breeze out here that's helping.
Right.
That happen.
Enjoy. I am going to pour myself a little bit of Galkid Light.
Oh, I thought
And
you
like a
would
drink.
pour yourself
Yeah.
a drink.
No, I wish. It's my equivalent of, I'm going to pour myself a little bit of a drink. No.
I just sent you my dog that
Yes.
that I'm working on.
That's right. This is because the picture of Sunny that you're working on has a similar thing happening. That's exactly right. Yep. Exactly. And send the source, Diana, so she can see the source. By the way, you're really getting her. Okay, so see this? Right, there's our honey Galkid mix. Galkid Light is what I'm using. You could also use linseed oil. If you are working in acrylic, you can use either water or one of those Liquitex mediums that Diana was talking about. I don't know what they're called though. So don't
Yes, you can really see that shine.
Right. So here is what I'm going to put that to the side for a second. What did I do with my palette knife? Where's my palette knife? Had it. Darn it. I put it down. So here it is. Okay. So for those of you who are at this stage, the first thing I'm going to have you do is mix a touch of cool red. This is quinacridone red, and a touch of blue to make it purple. Maybe. And I want you to add a teeny little touch of yellow ochre, not too much, just a touch. So you're going to mix this, okay? And then let me do the whole process so that it's not so truncated by getting sort of all caught up in trying to get this right, getting everything right. Okay, now I'm going to take a paper towel or a rag. Cut up t-shirts are really great for this. Okay, so I've got my Galkid Light. I've got my kind of bigger brush, not really that big, but it's a bigger brush. And I've got a bit of Galkid and paint on it. And I'm going to go over my painting with purple, this purple glaze. Now, don't panic. And Anita, you'll just use, right?
Oh, okay.
Don't panic. You're just going to use water and mix your purple together. And then once I'm here, I'm going to take my paper towel, and notice I'm wiping out just the light areas. I'm taking it out of the light areas. See that? So that's your first step. I went over the hair. I went over everything. See how I did that? Oh, my.
So with
Just
acrylic,
lost
we
the
should,
top.
oh my God. Okay, so we should do the same with acrylic, but with water?
Yes, that's how you
Okay.
glaze. That's how you glaze, right? With water. Make sure
Okay.
everything's dry. Make sure if anything's wet, this will not work. So make sure your painting is entirely dry before you start that. Our painting is dry because we haven't painted on it. So you see how that starts to kind of deepen my shadows in here? Everybody who does that, can you see that glaze? And then I just pulled it out. I pull I'll do it again. Although as I said, I just lost here. I'll do it with another one right here. I just happen to have another brush here. I'll quickly do this again. Watch again. Watch me. See how if I don't take this off, it darkens everything. But if I put it on and then take it off the light areas, I get my lights back and I deepen my darks. So this is the beginning of being able to get some detail in.
Pretty
See how-
cool. It's really cool, actually.
Yeah, isn't it? It's the
Yes.
best. It's the best. There is nothing better than this process because it does a lot of the work for you. It's already doing a lot of the work for you.
So
Yeah.
the colors again were quinacridone red, some ultraviolet blue, and a dab of yellow ochre.
Yep. Here's the color right here. And then I took Yalkid light and my brush and see how little I had to pull over. I kind of have a clear. If I want to, I can even go back in and get darker, right? But I wanted this color everywhere because even in my light areas, there are some dark. See how I just went over that and darkened a little bit? So it darkens everything. You can definitely go over the hair and the face for sure. Yeah. Now I know we're gonna have to bring back some of these light areas. So I think the mental thing that you have to get over in painting, right, is that you're gonna keep you're gonna keep adding dark and reclaiming the lights as you go through on your top layers. But we're doing glazes because the glazes do some of that work for us. Now let me see if I can go find a paintbrush that's flat that does not fall off. I'll be right back. And let me take a picture of this. Yeah, it's such, anyone who is a control freak, who needs to control every step of the process is not going to be a good artist. Control freaks are not good artists because you have to let some processes do what they do and then be able to go in and work around. And if you're too controlling of every step of the way, you're not able to allow these magical things. What I really love about what happened here is that I got a little bit more dark in here between the breasts, which I really wanted, right? Now I have lost a little bit of the light here on this side, but I have a lot more light I can put on top. So what I really wanted was this dark, but I don't really know exactly what's going to happen every time I glaze. So that's the real issue. You got to let things happen and then be able to respond to whatever's happening. And I can't tell you it's going to be exactly the same every time. Just like I can't tell you that you're going to mix the same every single time. It's a whole process that is happening that you have to kind of understand. You have to go through enough times so that you understand and allow for it. It's a little bit like how you guys are learning drawing. Right? The way you're learning drawing is to understand that although the beginning stages don't look exactly right the way you'd want them to, that you have to get there before you have to put them in before you can start adding in detail. And so I have to construct these bases
Sorry, I'm turning off the sound.
So go ahead and do that and then send me your pictures of what that looks like. Joe, you can just sit and wait for your painting to dry. And then you're going to do what I'm going to ask these guys to do at a more beginning space spot. When you guys are ready, when you've all shown me that you've done this, then we can go on.
Sounds good.
Hey, Leah,
Yeah,
I had one question.
Yeah.
Why did you choose those colors to do the wash?
great question. Number one, the running joke in these art classes that I always choose purple. But the reason I chose purple is that I wanted a dark, right? And kind of almost a bruised color, right? Because parts of this have, these darks have a slightly bruised color to them, right? A sort of bruised color. So purple does two things. Purple kind of mingles with and boosts the shadows on the orange side and kind of creates a more shadow color. Also, there's a kind of bruisedness, not like she's been beat up, but a kind of a bruisey color to the shadows that's not exactly black and it's not exactly white. So purple and orange often make a really nice, create that texture really well. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Yeah, it's, it's essentially, Andy, putting a cool wash over a fairly warm painting, right? To create a little bit of back and forth texture. The oranges, even the shadow oranges are a little bit orangey, kind of orangey pink. And purple just neutralizes them a little bit. Ah, nice, Nina. See what that does? See how that makes your shadows a little bit richer? Now, Nina, you're going to have to work to reclaim your darks here, and I'll show you how to do that. Right?
okay.
You lost them, right? So
I did.
did you scrub out the lights with a paper towel?
I did. It dried really quick, unfortunately. So I
Nice.
had to go back in with a wet brush because the whole
Right.
thing dried.
Right. So that's the challenge of acrylic. It dries really fast. So you got to
Yeah.
be right there with, you have to put it on and then not wait a minute while you stumble around. You got to like you have to have your paper towel in your hand and be able to quickly jump in and pull it out almost as quickly as you lay it on.
Yeah. Oh no, you're really tempting me with oil, but I've got to wait because I think it would be better to do it in a studio or somewhere rather than at home.
Well, yeah, because there's a bunch of things you have to do to take care of it and to store it and to wash it and all of that stuff. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I'm not telling you actually not to paint in acrylic. I'm just telling you that if you do it, you have to be ready to move fast.
Oh, I agree. I would love to do oil though at some point, right? That was what I wanted to do in 2021, but with the
Mhm.
pandemic, maybe 2022, because it's still very slow openings
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I think that's great.
But you're showing me why great masters will use oil over acrylic. Like I
Totally.
see, yeah.
It's the
They
difference.
didn't
Look
have
at the difference.
acrylics. They didn't have acrylics.
Oh, they didn't have acrylics either.
No,
Yeah,
that's
good
part
point.
of it.
That's part of it. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
why contemporary masters, choose oil over acrylic. It's why contemporary masters choose it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not saying all contemporary masters use it. Some masters use acrylic, but honestly, the ones who are kind of serious. There you go, Sandra. That's it.
It looks better, huh?
So much,
Thank
don't you
you.
think? And the blue looks wonderful on the top. We'll get you there, Sandra. I'm going to get you to the point where you understand at every point what do I deal with when I'm dealing with, what are the parts of the dog, right? What are the parts and the pieces? How do I deal with them? We're very close to getting you there.
Does his nose look too big now?
No. Return to you. Answer that question yourself. Put your transparency over it.
But it's
Don't
wet
ask me.
still.
Yeah, but don't ask me.
Looks
Don't ask.
What did you say, Diana?
Looks much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't ask me that question. Prove it to yourself. It looks great to me.
It does
if
look
you're-
better.
If you're asking Sandra, if you're still thinking that the nose is too big, then the thinking that needs to change is your thinking and not the thinking of the painting.
Oh.
So that's the intellectual thing I want you to make, the leap that I want you to make. And that is that things that are closer to you are bigger and more and shorter than you think. And they need to be treated differently. And we'll keep going over it. I know perspective is helping. I know you're having a better understanding.
Yeah,
of
it's
that.
easier to think of perspective when you do trees rather than dogs.
Sure,
But you're right,
but
it's the same thing.
It's the same damn thing.
I mean, not trees, I meant streets.
Yeah, I know. That's because that's what we've been doing. That's how you learn.
Yes,
You'll
because
learn
it's very
to
easy to
fly it
figure.
across, right? Like, yeah, it's easier to see because you think of a street as a separate, right? You can show the pieces a little bit separately. But with a person or an animal, the thing is pieces are closer and farther away. You need to deal with them differently. So it's the same. It's funny. All right. So for those of you who are working on the second layers, I'm gonna take a picture of this and show you what I'd like to do is mark in. This doesn't have to be totally dry before you start working over the new, sort of adding in the new layers. So there are a couple of places. If I do this, you can't really, it's hard. So I'm going to do this in a couple of places, but I'm not really going to draw on this. I'm going to show you up close areas where there are darks and then variations in light and dark. So number one area to kind of work as you're working more detail, and I will do it. So I want you to just watch me while I do it. But here's the theory. I'm going in now and I'm looking at now I'm going in and adding a little bit more. Just send the thing, Leah, so they understand what you're talking about. So now I'm coming in and I'm interested in creating more of this variation. So I'm looking really up. I see, you can't really see that here. Touchy. I knew I could fit everything. Right. So I've sent you the areas I'm now going to be. God damn it. Here. There we go. I've sent you the areas I'm going to be working more in detail. And I need bits of my, I need lights and darks for this. And I also need two different brushes. I need my little singular brush here, right? and I need my bigger brush. So now I'm going to go back in with some of my light color. So Joe, you're going to do a variation of this, but it'll be the first layer for you.
Okay.
I'm mostly just picking up color. I'm not really adding any medium. And I'm going in where the lights are. See, and I'm adding them back in. And then where there's sort of a skinnier dark, I'm taking some of my dark and I'm kind of adding it in here. And then I'm going to brush up a little bit into it, a little bit of skin color up into it. See how I'm starting to be able, so I'm starting with kind of a harsher line, and then I'm brushing more skin color. There's a little bit of light over here, kind of blends in here. So I'm adding in little bits of light and then going over with the dark and then blending. Yeah, I'm just using straight paint right now. Kind of blending that edge so that the dark is still there, but not so strong. See, I'm almost tapping it in. So this is the real challenge. Kind of working around the hair right now. There's a tiny bit of light on the bottom edge here. You'll see it because I sent it to you in detail. And you see I'm kind of going back and forth between my dark, and see how I'm kind of fraying the edges. So Andy, you were asking, how do I get more detail? See, I'm working dark areas with this very detailed brush. And then I'm taking this sort of flatter brush, slightly bigger, and brushing in and around on top. Coming down here. I'm not really going over this area, but I might be creating a soft edge. See how I'm able to start getting light in? Are you guys watching this? Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Right. Now I know that I just made it look a lot easier than it, right? There is a certain amount of skill and practice that's gone into doing this. But you see how I'm kind of going back and forth between adding detail and now kind of focusing on detail. I can take a little bit of that pink, this quinacridone red, and mix it in here for a little bit of the rest. Is that going to be dark? You know, a little bit of the nipple. I can start to get in, but not too much because I can't really see. See how that's that's a little bit harder to see. I didn't quite get that. I didn't actually take my time to get this right on that one. Let me see if I can get that a little better. There she goes. Right, and then I can even actually also take my little brush, very tiny little bits, and brush in. So there's a little shadow under the breasts. So Joe, you are going to be doing more of this on this layer. You're going to be doing more like, I want you to focus, start with the legs where you get a light in there.
Okay.
And then you clean off your brush with a little bit of Gamsol and wipe it off. And then you take your dark layer and you add it in here, right? And then you blend it over. The light over into the dark.
Okay.
So that they're still dark. These guys are doing the second layer of that, where they're starting. So that's your job. Oh yeah, look at the difference. I mean, this is the part that's not painted, these parts. Look at the difference. Can you guys see that?
That's good.
Between what's happening here and what's happening there. So I'm using pretty particular tools. That's why I had you spend so much time mixing, and this. And you're gonna go back and forth, right? Between being able to nail this or not. So what I would say is I'd like to see you all work on this torso. I sent it to you in a close-up picture so you can really see the details. I didn't pull the skin color all the way over on this one. I stopped it about here. I might push some back. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't, and I lost it a little bit, so I might go back in and get a little bit more dark. And this is why it's important. Definitely a little bit more light. So it's this very, we're reclaiming. Oh, I totally forgot her belly button. Let's get that in. That's super dark. I might even take a touch of the this purple glaze that I mixed. Whoops, come on. Add that in, right? And even that looks a little bit strong, so I'm gonna like add in a little bit of peach around the edges, sort of white color in. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it fucking amazing? Just like, look at this. These are tiny little shifts.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the base. That's where you're kind of working on. I'll keep working on this, but I think you guys get the idea of now what you're ready to do.
So Leah, I sent you my picture. Do you have any idea what colored background I should have? I mean, purple does not work.
That's a good question. What about kind of a peachy orange?
Yeah, maybe.
To go with the blues, all these blues that you've got here.
I'll try that.
Yeah. You make a really nice peach color. Try that.
You could also have green of grass.
Yeah, you could. I was wondering if that, I mean, you could try them both. Yeah, I mean, you know, so many different colors. So see how this is working. So I want you guys all working in this area. Now trying to sort of, now that we have a base layer, kind of, you know, you can be a little bit stronger in some places with your, I'm going to try not to jump ahead because I know I'd like to, but I'm not going to. I'd like to see you work this, and I'll send this as a, I'll send this across. So now is the time to get more detail oriented, right? Like now is that time. Now that we've got our base down.
So Leah, if I could try to repeat this.
Yeah.
You're first having us paint in the shadow colors.
Actually, you already have painted the shadow color in.
No, but I mean, like when you were adding in like the little shadow that's between her breasts and above her navel, like you're having us do that first, then we add in the lighter colors
and kind of brush it over a little bit. Yeah.
And then with the bigger brush, we're kind of making it a soft blend rather than a hard, soft edge rather than a hard edge.
Perfect. When I write the book, you'll be my editor. Exactly.
And then the other deviation is that we'll take the flesh color and mix that with a little quinacridone red to make the nipple area.
Nipple area. Yep.
And is that how you made the belly button area too, or is that just more with the shadow?
I just grabbed this purple, and stuck it in there, and then put a little bit of the light color around it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because, because the way she's looking, she looks a little bit narrower. And maybe she is a little bit narrower. I'm sending this across so you guys can see it. Absolutely. I appreciate the restating. It's funny when you're in the middle of doing it, it's often very hard to find the right words while you're doing it.
And Leah, the other thing I noticed, if I got this right, right is that when we were doing the shadow color, that has less white in it than when we're doing the
A bit less white.
flesh
It's got
color.
some white, but it's yeah. If you can see these two here, you can see the value is darker.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. But see how nice it is to have those piles of paint
Yeah.
there so that you can kind of go into them, right? So mix them beforehand. Right. So yes, Nina, the value of oil is that you can do that. You can mix in advance and then kind of pull in and out. The problem with acrylic is that you don't have the problem with oil is that there's a point where you have to stop, and with acrylic, you don't have to. You know what I mean? With acrylic,
Yeah.
you can actually like just keep, you could just wait 5 minutes and then just keep on going. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go make myself a little cup of tea. I'll be right back. You get started. I'm not leaving you. I'm just walking away for a second because it's slow painting.
That's the sound of a running puppy.
I was wondering what that sound was.
The sound of a running puppy. So Diana, I just took a picture of my last painting, which is finished but not varnished. It's tough
Yeah.
because I had to turn the lights on and then glows happen in a certain way. But let me see if I can show you. You can see a little bit here that there's areas that are kind of uneven
Yeah,
in the varnishing because I use glaze more in some areas than in others.
okay.
So there's that is. And then I took it at another angle.
Sorry, you can turn me off if you want.
That's fine. Cute. So if you can see in the sky, there's some areas where the darks and the light have a slightly uneven tone. It's still really hard to show. You could see it if you were here. So to smooth that out, I would sort of on the top left, to smooth that out. Oh yeah, you can see a little bit. Can you see, if you come up on this one, you can kind of see there's these areas, there's a little bit of glare here, but you can see where sort of this glaze stops. And so what I'm trying to do is like, so the varnish will often smooth that out. Because there's varnish on one side, more varnish on one side and less on the other.
I'll try that. I'll try it. It might be a couple of minutes of calm now. She collapsed.
It's like squeeze, 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 collapse. Squeeze,
Yeah.
squeeze, 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 collapse.
Exactly. It's endearing and annoying at the same time.
Right.
But it was fantastic timing to find her.
Right? Saves
Yeah.
your life. Saved you.
Yeah.
And saved her too. It all works.
No, it's good. Muy good.
So Joe, is this just white? Is this just the light? Joe, can you hear me?
Oh, hi,
Yeah.
sorry.
Is that just the light?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you wanted to get your dark in there as well. So you see you lost a little bit of your dark. So now you want to add your dark in without the light really covering it. So get your shadows in here and then
Okay.
blend the edges where
All
they
right.
meet. Yep.
All right.
All right. So you're going to have to reclaim some of those darks.
Okay.
And that's the hard part. That's okay. That's why we're here.
That's the hard part.
This is the hard part. Yeah. Getting those, not losing, you know, being able to maintain lights and darks, but still having this kind of smoother transition. And I haven't got to down here. I haven't got to up here. The hair yet. The arms.
So I go with my darkest dark there on the shadows.
Try it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then blend a little bit of the light over into the dark. Maybe a little bit yellower, Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it?
No, I don't like it by the tongue because it almost.
That's why I'm like peach is this is a little bit more watermelon orange.
Yeah, it might be.
I was thinking more of a peachy, yellowy, lighter.
Yeah, okay.
But you could also try Sandra's suggestion of green.
You know, as though she's in grass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could also try that. Try both and see which one you like better. Try on one side, try green on the
Yeah,
other
no,
side.
this didn't quite work, so.
Yeah, but it's not quite, well, that wasn't the color I was thinking. I was thinking
Oh,
more
you were
of,
thinking of peach.
yellowy
The
or
one
yeah,
in the
peachy.
sky there, the
Yeah.
one I had in the sky.
Exactly.
Reindeer, okay.
That's not.
Just trying to see if I could do a video and paint at the same time, but it may be hard. I need more
Do a video of
snap
what?
of me painting so I could
Oh.
show it. Because it seems like it's over so fast. People lose it. I might try. Let's see. I'm running out of hands and staff. And money. All of those things at the same time. Welcome to being a business owner. Oops. You might find you're getting a lot of mud. Oil painters can actually pull out, you can actually scrape off with your paper towel some of the extra paint and try again. Acrylic painters, you just got to wait till it dries, which is usually just a minute or two, and then try it again. Wait till things dry.
I'm going to send you my dog again. I'm thinking of doing the whiskers next, which is pretty much finishing it.
Okay.
Unless you think it's not finished. And I'm thinking I'm not planning to do a background in case I mess it up.
Oh, he looks wonderful.
You think so? You think his owner will like it?
I think his owner will cry. That's what I think. I always like, it's wonderful, Sandra. Wonderful, wonderful. What a little adorable stinker. Oh, that face. Yes, and I think that's a great, I mean, if you wanted to, you could take a slight bit of light blue in a wash, kind of over a little bit, not next to the dog, but kind of over the top if you wanted to, just a little scribble. That might very lightly wash, that might really sort of direct people. So I'm thinking more, say this is the dog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking maybe more, not right next to it, but kind of maybe like here, just a little bit blue will kind of direct you down.
I'm just afraid of messing it up.
So
because you know what?
Okay, yeah, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, I think it would look really neat.
Thank you.
But it's wonderful. You're really cooking along. Have you been using the pen, or are you just using your brushes?
No, I didn't dare use the pen on this. I used the pen on the donkey yesterday. I think I still need more practice with it before
that
doing
pen.
important things.
Oh my God. See. Starting to get there, Andy. It's looking a little blue. So you still, look at these darks. You went too light now, right? So you need to get.
Did you say a little blue?
Yeah, it looks a little blue to me. Like this doesn't really look like skin color. If I look up close, it really looks like blue. Whoops. And I still feel like I'm not seeing enough darks. The darks aren't dark enough. So come back in over. If you really look close, you'll see that this part is darkest of all, and this is a little bit less dark. So
Which is this part? I'm sorry.
Look, I'm showing you. Sorry, I'm showing. Oh, you can't really see here. Hold on. You'll see that. So you've lost your darks. So now you need to bring them back in. This part in here is really the darkest. Then this part is less dark. I'm going to sketch it in with pencil, but I'm not going to put anything else in because you'll lose it. You'll lose that's like less dark. This is less dark. That's light. This is super dark.
And the part I lost were the super dark parts.
You lost all the super dark parts. And this part does not look dark. It looks blue. So I would take some of your shadow skin color and get in there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easy. You just went too gray. In fact, yeah, also, we can't really see the nipple here on this side. This is all, I'm going to take a very close up. I want you to really mimic the transitions here.
Yeah, I didn't get her hair down all the way.
Yeah, you didn't get her hair down, and B, you didn't really notice that this whole part of the breast is really dark. So you've got her whole nipple showing, we can't really see it. Maybe I haven't done that either, so let me do that myself so you can see what that looks like. All right.
I sent you yet another version.
Okay, hang on, just a second. I'll
No
tell you in
panic.
a moment. So see, half of this breast is really quite dark. And it kind of goes right in half with the nipple. So I can only really see a little bit.
I guess I was hoping to extend the hair later on when we were.
Do it now. Do it now. Take a little bit of your burnt umber and just bring it down. Because that's actually an important element, right? Like you're putting things in that you can't really see. And there's this shadow here that's very important to get. I'm still working it myself, so I'm going to get in here. So I'm wanting you to see the nuances a little bit more. And now I want a little bit more contrast. In the first layers, there's less contrast. On the top layers, there's more. See how I'm even adding in the fingers, right, where they're light. And everything still needs to be pretty soft, except maybe a little bit under here. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take a picture of this. Yeah, you got it. You've got the spot, so you can see the transitions. We'll work on the hair. It's at about 2 o'clock, we'll start working on the hair. And a little bit on the legs and the crotch here, because you're gonna have to do that with all of them. Yes, well. It's easy to get kind of too much light in and mix and lose your darks.
Yep, it goes right over the top of it. Doesn't really blend.
Yeah.
That's what I'm having.
And Joe, you're gonna just work on, if you're jumping in next week, I think what we'll do is we'll start a new drawing next week. So maybe I'll have you guys draw. You know what we might do? I might have you draw for like an hour or two to get a new figure in, and then we'll continue working on this painting at whatever level you're at. So those who are ready to start the new painting can start mixing for that. But those of you who still want to work more detail, because Natalia wasn't here, so maybe she'll want to work more detail.
Hello, Monsieur Dragon. Ici Dragon. Monsieur Lion. Dragon.
My nephew's wedding's next week, so I'm out next week again.
But I'm telling you, Joe, all the everything's recorded, so you can totally just jump in and grab the recording, which is good. But like, just I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, it's making myself do it.
Yeah, I know you like. Some people like to actually have a class to make sure you'll do it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm that way. I'm that way with my workouts.
Right, exactly.
I have to go to my live class, and there has to be the 6 people who are there, and it has to be noticed that I'll be gone, or I just wouldn't do it.
You got a live
Here's a
class now?
finished version.
What's that?
Sorry, I just sent you guys the
Oh,
finished
Diana,
version.
I'm sorry. Let me take a look at this. Sorry, I got.
I'm
Oh, I like the green. You don't like it?
yeah, I'm shading it now so that you can see the shades where she's laying down.
Yeah. I love it. I think the green is great. It pops with her pink ears and her tongue.
Yeah.
So it kind of pushes those. Oh, Sandra, that's just wonderful. Ah, yes, they're gonna cry. They're gonna cry. cry.
Yeah, that's Sandra's speciality, to make us cry.
To make us cry.
Yeah,
I
that's
cried.
not what I need to do at all. On the contrary, I mean,
Well, crying.
I mean,
in a
this
good
dog
way.
is alive, so that
Good,
helps.
it's all good tears.
Crying in a good way. Listen, Sandra, I cried when you sent me Hermes. You just got him so well. Like, you just can't help it.
Yeah, I cried over Charlie. That was so beautiful.
Oh, that's hard when it's dog gone. I know.
Yeah, particularly that way. That sucked. How's
I need to
Julia
work
doing?
more on the dog. Do you think I need to work more on the dog?
What do you think?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah. I mean, one could always work a little bit more. Maybe work the edges where light meets dark.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
I
good.
I feel like I like the ears and the tongue a lot, and I like the nose. So maybe just the light edges, where the light edges meet the dark edges.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I know you're perfectly capable of, I know you can make these decisions yourself, Diana, so I appreciate your asking me. I feel like
No,
I
but
feel
it's
honored
good.
that
You
you
know,
asked me.
I don't always think right.
None of us do, right? Me neither. I don't always think right either. I don't always think right either. So it helps to have a second eye.
Yeah. Yeah, that helps actually. Makes it pop.
Do you thin the paint with Calcut at all?
No, I don't, but
All right.
I'm using it just a little teeny tiny. No, not on this. No, not generally. Not on this
Huh?
layer. Do you want to?
Please leave your message.
Well, it just feels like it's hard to blend because it's just So thin.
You might have too much paint on your brush, so you might want to take a little bit off for the blending. So
Okay, so you kind of use a dry brush?
yeah, use a dry brush
Yeah,
and like kind of, and then maybe sort of scrub off a little bit, right? So you don't have piles, and then you can sort of more softly brush in. You'll go back and forth on this though, Joe, so. Might be able to, let's see if I can, I'm gonna try and video this just for the hell of it. Can I get that? I tried to do a little video. It worked. That might be worth it. Okay, so just keep in mind I was ha! At the very end is me. Looking ridiculous, but I still kind of like it. All right, let's see. I did send a little video. Maybe it won't let us do that. Of painting, of blending. All right, and then look at hair and things like that. I spent a little bit of time with hair today. I'm gonna go back to. Okay, so I'm gonna take my curly brush for hair, and I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna take a little bit of burnt sienna and a slight bit of burnt umber. So I've got a slightly lighter, kind of brownish color. And over the top of this dark, I'm gonna start adding in a little bit, a few of these curly locks, but I can get lighter than that. Get lighter than that. Right now, I'm just using dry. So I'm kind of layering on the top. And then I'll go back in and do some burnt umber and blue for dark. And so there's these kind of dark curls and light. See, I'm mostly going to areas where the hair kind of meets the background, where the hair kind of falls and curly cues. So I'm just using combinations of a kind of a lighter. There we I'm using combinations, and I'm not doing too much. Combinations of ultramarine blue and burnt umber to create a few. I'm just sort of working the edges of this dark mass of hair with my little light brush. And then I'm also using little bits of burnt sienna and ochre for the lighter parts. Oh, Joe, yeah, it's coming along, Joe.
Pretty happy so far, but the blending isn't working real well, but it's all right.
Right. Yeah, you just keep working on the blending. You should have something that looks a bit like this. Let me get how mine looked at the beginning of
So you're pulling the light color all the way across.
On this layer, yes, but I'm still trying to maintain darks. So let me show you how this looked at the beginning of class before I did this. Let's see. Let me see. Where mine was last week. I know I have a picture of it somewhere. Excuse me. Did I not take it? I know I did. I think I sent it to Holly. Hold on. So I think I forgot to take a picture of it. Send it to her later today. Here. This is how it looked at the end of last week, Joe. I will. Wait, hold on. Yeah, just save it. Now I can show
I
you.
feel like I have kind of the lights and darks blocked in, but no blending.
Yeah, now you have to have the blending. So, but I want you to get a sense because I'm exacerbating them more.
You did a background color last week too?
A little bit, yep.
All right.
So see the difference? That's
Yeah.
kind of where I was last week.
Okay.
Now, is that right? Yeah, that is. Yeah, so you're just too dark. And then these are turning to blue. It's not really blue, it's more kind of brownish, which suggests that and Andy, I'm seeing a little bit of the same thing happening to you, which is that your shadows are turning to blue, which means you probably got too much blue in them. You probably need more of the flesh color, the sort of red and yellow. You might want to take more of this mix and just pop it right in over, because as you add the whites in, you shouldn't be getting a blue. It should not be a blue-gray. It should be more of a kind of a warm color. Yeah, it's getting there. But Andy, do you see what I'm saying? This is a little bit more brown than you've got it. So now I want you to take this skinny brush and go in with some of this base color, which should be this, and bits of a little bit of blue, and go in over and try to push out your darks a little bit. Because right now, they're looking way too blue and way too gray. It's just not dark enough. You need to have more darks.
Okay.
Yep. So try going right over the top, right? Like with this color, more of this base with no white in it. Try that.
Okay.
It's easy to make too much gray. And if you notice things are getting too blue, you try to add, or too much of one color, you try to add more of the other colors in to sort of push it. Yeah, Nina, I feel like you really need to get your darks in and work that blend again. You've lost them. You've lost your darks. So go ahead and add your darks in and then blend your lights up. Do you see that? Can you see how? I know it's a practice. Learning to blend. Listen, that's why I usually have people start with a sphere, painting a sphere, because all of the things you have to do in painting a sphere, you have to do in painting here. So the practice it's just a practice.
Okay.
You don't have
It
to
just
be good
keeps
at it.
drying. Oh, sorry. It keeps drying really fast.
As I've said many times, that's the
I know.
problem with acrylic. So you got to move fast.
Yeah,
You
I'm
gotta
out of practice. Yeah.
Yep, you got to move fast. You have to have all your colors mixed and ready and then quickly adding them in. You can't sit here and lay it out and look at it and then slowly, leisurely. You just can't. You got to go fast. So that's the challenge.
Yep.
Just keep going. But as you can see, the boys are struggling too, so it's not just you.
Okay.
They're in oil, so.
Yeah.
And then I could take some of that hair color, which is burnt umber, burnt sienna, come in here a little bit. It's a little bit dark down here with my skinny brush, right? In up here, kind of blending in this over. There's a little bit of that super dark edge. I can actually take that blue brown color and kind of come in around like that. That helps kind of clean that up a little bit. Or I could take some light blue. Come in here in the middle. And don't worry, I want you guys to just do the best you can. We're going to do a few of these, like 2 or 3 or 4. So 2, maybe 3 anyway, at least. So you'll get better. If you don't get it all in this one, we're going to try, you're going to try harder on the next one. You'll start to get it. If I see that anybody's getting stuck in a rut, I'll try and help you get out of it. But mostly I have to watch your process kind of going through a few times to even see what the rut is. Nice. Oh, hold on.
Okay, sent you the last version.
Okay. Give me just a second. I need to plug in my.
Oh, no, no panic.
That was the owner of a dog who was delighted, and so is her husband.
Oh, good.
So I'm very pleased. I have to do one more dog.
I know how you love your dogs.
I really I could do cats.
I know you would rather do cats. But it turned out really nice. It was just like a stupid picture to choose. The composition is strange. I did. But it's good practice.
You've got, yes, let's see. Oh yeah, Diana, that's lovely. Lovely. Hi, Sunny. Welcome to the
Yeah,
world.
welcome to the world.
Welcome to the world. Hi, everybody. Hi, 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 hi. Squeak, 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 squeak. Sleep,
Yeah,
sleep, sleep.
she's
Squeak, squeak, bite, bite, bark, bark.
hyper and then she collapses.
Oh.
Hello. The cats made themselves scarce while I did power washing, but now we're up and back.
Who's that? I can't see him.
That's Lion.
Hi, is Lion feeling better?
So his rabbit who wasn't feeling well.
Oh, Rabbit is
He's
Rabbit.
outside. He's getting better every day.
Okay, good.
I'm not quite sure what happened to him.
Your cats are such little characters.
Yeah, cute.
They have so much personality.
Yeah, they do. And that's a lovely thing about Bengals. So, and they're very intelligent. That's what makes them, and they're chatty. So, and they're like very interactive. That's what makes them such good companions.
Right, right. They're fantastic.
It's not like a Persian sleeping on the sofa all day.
Julia is angry. She wonders why we brought in this yappy thing.
She'll get to appreciate.
Yeah, she's starting. She comes up to the, I have glass doors out to the living room. So she walks up so she can look at her.
So I am sending you where mine is right now, you guys, so you can see it. So what we're going to do is next week we'll start with the drawing, and then spend about half the time drawing a new figure, and then the rest of the time, or maybe we'll keep painting for half the time, and then we'll start a figure for the next one. I don't want to poke around in this too long. I want you to have enough time to try things.
It looks really good. The only thing that looks clunky is her right arm, our left. But
yeah, I haven't worked that yet.
Yeah.
I haven't worked that yet. I was kind of waiting to get everybody. In.
Yeah, but otherwise the suggestiveness I like.
Yeah. It's a nice. It's pretty, isn't it? It's got a kind of pretty. It's got a kind of prettiness to it. So I want everybody to catch up. We haven't worked the arms really. You're getting there, Andy. But do you see it's still pretty green? It's still pretty blue, or is that just? I mean, it's looking. So maybe just go in with a little bit of straight. I'm pointing to it right here. Straight mix here with no blue on top and see what happens. So take your tiny brush and get a little bit of just the straight, red, and ochre and pop it in on top and see if you can blend it in there and make it a little bit browner. And then if you can, I'd like you to do that down here as well. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Lee, when you say pop it in where?
On top of your shadow area here, because your shadow area here is still looking significantly too blue. Can you see the difference between mine and yours? It's hard to see here, but if you look at the difference between mine and yours, I just put mine up. Look at how brown mine is compared to yours, which is just blue-gray. So you've got too much white in there. You've got too much blue in there. You need to get some of this in here and mix it in. See if you can get it. And if not, we'll just keep working on it next week. Joe, how's it going for you?
Well, it's pretty good. I mean, I'll send a picture.
Okay. I like that you're pleased. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll spend another, let's say, hour and a half working on this next week, and then we'll start a new one. Oh yeah, there you go. Now you're starting. Yep. It is looking kind of neat. I agree. It's looking really neat. Yeah. So you missed your dark down in the neck here. So get your dark down into the neck here.
Okay.
Yeah, as well, right? See how dark this side of the face is.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, and you guys, to be fair, Joe's been doing this longer than you all have. So he's had his chances to mess up blending, right, Joe?
I feel like it's luck every time it works.
Well, it's all practice, right?
Yeah.
Like it's how much you use the tools. I mean, one of the things, it's really a challenge when you work full time to figure out how to make time for the art. So that's part of the idea, is to like build it in a little bit, like exercise. Like as Sandra and I were discussing yesterday, you know, she's had 6 months off work while she's been fighting cancer. So now that she's fought cancer and won, she gets to go back to work, but she got a chance to build in a lot more time for painting. And she's figured out a way to maintain those hours. It's like a certain time of day, you know, that works better
Yeah.
for her, to kind of get in, and so she doesn't have to commute, you know,
Right.
like you have a little extra time that you might otherwise be spending commuting, maybe doing it either in the evening or the morning. Maybe the only time you're really clear is at midnight. I know some people who are like that. I don't understand it at all. I understand that there are some people like that. This is good.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
for me,
Nina,
it works to take 2 hours in the mornings. We'll see how that's going to work out with the puppy, but she's not going to be puppy for very long.
that's right.
I think I still can work that out.
Right.
I just get up 2 hours earlier than usual.
Oh, really? Wow.
5 o'clock, is that when your baby gets up?
No, 6.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
she wants to get up at 5, but that's too much for me.
Also, they
nice.
pick up habits very fast. So
It's the summer solstice.
Yeah, it's better not to give in to her habits.
no, it's amazing how quickly they pick up habits. So if you don't want it, don't do it.
No, I don't.
Even like me, the handyman made me get up twice at 8 a.m. and now the cats try to get up at 8 a.m. again. And I said, no, we're back to 10. Thank you.
It's easy.
I think my chipmunk has made a hole in the lawn. It is
Oh,
worrying a bit.
so he's making his home in your ground.
Yeah, if he starts making holes in the lawn, you know, like
Yeah, they live on the ground, you know.
yeah. So
But it
where he
does
lives
that.
is okay, but not if he starts making.
Holes in the garden.
Lisa has got problems with voles in her lawn.
Oh yeah, she complains about that quite a lot.
I don't have the appetite to.
I'll show you
Fight him,
mine.
so-
I have gophers.
Oh,
My lawn is like perforated.
really? So maybe I'm thinking I shouldn't feed this little beast.
No, you shouldn't.
I give him
Little
almonds.
face.
But
Oh,
they
they'll
are
never
cute.
leave.
And they're much nicer than gophers because gophers eat your plants from underneath.
Oh yeah, mine is very sweet. They don't do any harm as far as I can tell. Except, I mean, I'm not sure that's what it is, but it looks too big a hole for a cicada.
Yeah. Now their holes are the size of a little bit larger than a golf ball.
This is too big. It's not as big as that.
No?
I'll have to look at it again. And I don't see how it would fit in it, but these animals can compress sometimes.
Yeah, they can.
I'll have to keep an eye on it. I mean, I've got the 3 cats, so I doubt I'm going to be overrun by
You're
chipmunks.
not gonna be overrun. That's what I miss with having an outdoor cat is they keep track of those intruders that come to destroy your plans.
I keep telling them that striped thing is mine, don't touch it. But, you know, their instinct is their instinct. So
Yep.
Leah, you said you could put these oil paints in the freezer?
You can.
All right.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, you can. Wrap them in plastic wrap, and put them in the freezer. Yeah, they're right. So you don't have to mix again. Really
Yeah, so-
smart. Yes, you
I'll blend it
totally
up.
can. Yes, that is a tip for those of you who are working in oil who are like, I finally got the colors I want, and you've still got quite a bit. You
Yeah.
can wrap your palette in plastic wrap and put it in the freezer. Just don't eat it. All right, you guys, we're getting down to the last 5 minutes. So I'd like you to send me what can you believe it? I know, can you believe it? 3 hours went by in a flash. Leah caffeinated, all is good. Everybody getting their work done. So send me a last picture of what you're working on, or keep working if you want to, but send me where you are right now.
I finished. I'm over on the other, but I think I have to take my little one for a potty break. Otherwise, we'll have an accident. Oh no, you lay down again. Okay. Okay. Good girl. Oh, I'm ruining this one. But that's okay. I get there. Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hi, sweetie.
Can you go out? Yeah, I know. I know you need to go out. We're gonna go out.
Let's see. Ah, Nina, there you go. Starting to get there. You're getting there. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
I'm starting to work on this again, but I've already destroyed it. The little I did now. It's okay.
Ongoing. It'll look great. You'll get it. Joe, that looks in really great shape.
Yeah, I'm
Love it.
I'm
I'm super
liking-
happy. Yeah. So let it dry.
Yeah.
And then we'll just keep building up on it next week. Yeah, and I mean, maybe we'll just spend the whole month, the whole day, the whole one painting. I mean, if everybody still has stuff to do on this next week, I mean, I don't mind continuing, but it would be nice. Be prepared for the thought that we might try another,
Hello.
yeah, another
You guys hungry?
figure as well. So, anybody else have any last minute questions before we get going? You guys are starting to get it.
I
It's a back and forth.
just love these sessions. It's so nice to have a little bit of time.
It is, isn't it? And are you enjoying kind of like watching the figure painting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think figure painting is really fun. So as I've told you, I've never taught figure painting before. So I'm really enjoying it. And I'm enjoying your process as you guys are going through. I think you're doing really well. So we will spend at least one more session. As Diana pointed out rightly, I need to kind of fix the arm and the shoulder on this one. So I'll show you how to do that next time. And then you can kind of work on fixing things on yours. There's still stuff to do, but it is starting to look kind of lovely. It's starting to look more like a figure.
Right. Yep.
Andy, yeah, anybody else?
No, I have to go, otherwise I can see I'm gonna have an accident in the house.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
no accidents in the house. Bye, Diana. We'll see you hopefully on Tuesday or Wednesday.
absolutely.
Mhm. Anybody else have questions before we go here? I'm gonna stop the recording.